Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Dazzling-P from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit and says, am I the arsehole for making my family cancel their vacation because I won't watch their dogs? No.
Man, I remember being so naive.
You got me.
Let's read the story first, Mark. Come on now. Not the a-hole. My parents, 82 male, 75 female, asked if I would help them book a much needed vacation. They also asked me to do the same for my brother, 43, and sister-in-law, 33, because they wanted to take a family vacation in September. My husband, 46, and I, 41 female, can't afford to go because I'm currently out of a job. Even though this would be the first family vacation I have ever missed, and it made me really sad. I said I would of course help. My mum even mentioned to me that in a good way it's good because I'd be able to watch my brother's pugs and my parents' chihuahua. Here's the thing about watching the dogs. It's a 24/7 job that requires me to stay at my brother's house. The dogs are wonderful but very high maintenance. Because of this, I've been telling my brother for nearly 10 years that he needed to hire a dog sitter. Money isn't an issue for him. I've dog sat for them 3 times this past year, varying from 1 to 5 nights. They paid me well, but I do not feel comfortable staying at their house. I find their around-the-clock care exhausting. My husband and I have 5 cats. We're no stranger to feeling like our pets are our kids, but we don't have dogs for a reason. Now, I'm supposed to be booking this trip for my brother, but he hasn't even asked me about watching the dogs. Sunday at family dinner, everyone is sitting there except my sister-in-law who was ill. My brother was sitting across from me, so I reach out to hold his hand and say that I love him, I love the pugs, but I can't watch them when they go on vacation, and they need to get a dog sitter. I said it was too much to ask me to be trapped in their house for 7 nights, and I've been asking him to hire a dog sitter for nearly a decade. I even offered suggestions and said I'll help find someone. He starts to get reactive and says that they won't watch my cats anymore. I said that's fine. We have a cat sitter, but I point out that I ask them if they can help. They, on the other hand, didn't ask me. My brother finally concedes that it is a lot to ask 7 nights and 5 dogs. Excuse me? Yes, 5 dogs, because his mother-in-law apparently was planning to go too. So now added to the mix are 2 Italian greyhounds. I stay calm and gently point out that I felt this way before knowing there were 5 dogs. Can you imagine how I felt? He seemed to understand. By the time I left dinner, there were hugs and kisses and all was well. I knew my brother was upset, but he seemed to understand and I was really proud of putting up boundaries. The next evening, I called my parents to see if they have heard from my brother. Apparently called him after he got home from family dinner and was blindsided by me. My sister-in-law was just as upset as him too. They think I'm throwing a tantrum because I can't go on the vacation. Well, yes, that sucks. I told him my real issue is being trapped at their house for 7 nights. Now they're cancelling the vacation because I won't watch the dogs. Am I the arsehole for telling them I won't do it? I was confused at the start. I kind of got the parents asking OP to help. They're 82, 75, perhaps not very good with technology. I'm going down that route at the moment, so they needed some assistance booking some kind of vacation. Fair enough. But then they ask, can you do it for the brother and sister-in-law 43 and 33? I mean, if they're going as well, why can't they book it? Why is this falling on OP to begin with? But this is absolutely not the arsehole from me. The absolute entitlement to expect you to be doing this and then get angry that you're not is just insane. It's a huge ask to be doing this. 7 nights staying there with 5 dogs is a lot of work. It's a lot of walking, it's a lot of cleaning up after them, a lot of feeds, whilst you're stuck in a place that you don't want to be. That's a big ask. And you wasn't harsh about telling him. You reached across, held his hand and said that you love him and tried to say it in as a gentle way as possible. You know, this is on them. You sound like a kind-hearted individual that tried letting them down as gently as you could and they got offended by it. That's on them. They need to really take a long, hard look at themselves. So having hope says to the OP, not the arsehole. They're grown people who had plenty of time to find arrangements for their dogs. Didn't they have someone else to watch the dogs when you all traveled together? Is this a weird ploy to punish you by making you feel guilty or something? Seems reactive. Opie says the only time we have all travelled together was for my brother's wedding, which the dogs came to. This would be an international beach trip which we haven't had in, I guess, over a decade. To be fair, he couldn't go on the last trip in 2015 and I went, but I only had one cat that had no special requirements at the time, so my roommate watched her. So I feel bad for him not being able to go on a family vacation. Although it feels self-induced to me at this point, but I'm very emotional and I can't tell if my judgment is clouded. Lego Panda Bear says, not going is his choice. He could find or pay a dog sitter if he wanted. He's blaming you to divert the blame from himself. You are doing what is best for you. Mrs. says this 100%. Our 2 dogs go on their doggy daycare when we go on vacation. I believe everyone is happier. If my DH and I travel without our son, my parents take care of all of them at our house. Parsimonious Salad says not the arsehole. They can hire a pet sitter. It's not your household to take responsibility for. Edit, I also don't understand why they needed your help to book it. Opie says oops, I took that part out because I was way over the character limit. I can book like a travel agent and waive my commission so they can save a few hundred. Oh, okay. I realize how awful that sounds in context of this post, but it's easy for me to do, and as someone that loves to do things for others but currently doesn't have the budget for it, it's something I'm happy to do. Healer Haven says, so they get a discount by not paying you for your services and expect you to watch 5 dogs 24/7 and live apart from your spouse to do so. How much do they usually pay you for the normal 3? Because I bet it's not nearly as generous as they tell you it is. OP responds saying, so this isn't a super common situation for us, despite what my harping on for this 10 years implies. I went over my character limit, so I couldn't add this bit of context. My brother set the precedent nearly 10 years ago that the dogs could never be alone at night because of separation anxiety. So when he was single and travelling for work, my mum had to stay the night there with the dogs. And since she lived closer than me and I had an office job, she would go back and forth to the house every 5 hours to let them out. Back then I used to say it wasn't fair to mum and that he needed to hire a dog sitter. My mum loved it because the pug cuddles are amazing and they're good dogs, but I was still vocal that it was way too much to ask mum. Last year my husband and I bought a house a mile away from my brother, and the dog care has fallen to me because why would I make my mum continue to do that when it's easier for me? The first time I did it I was extremely anxious, but I didn't complain because it was so my brother and sister-in-law could take a family vacation with their dying father. I had 4 dogs then and it was $500 for 5 days. To be completely honest, I would not have accepted the money if I hadn't just lost my job. For me, that is what family is for. There was another couple of times for 1 and then 3 nights due to a family emergency with my sister-in-law's family, so again, no problem. I've dropped by a couple of times to let the dogs out back to potty when asked. And even recently there was a day that neither my mum or I were available to let the pugs out when a situation came up. And I specifically told my brother he needed to have a trusted pet sitter on hand and hire them before he needs them. But this is the first time that I feel it's completely different and not right for them to ask me to do all this. It's like taking advantage, and it feels like when my mum had to stay there when my brother travelled all over again. And I'm not willing to put myself through it for a long vacation when this is exactly the scenario I've been harping on. So I think it's fair to say the post was overwhelmingly not the arsehole in this situation. OP came in with an update and said, my brother apologised and we're having a very good and calm conversation. We were getting to a point where I was willing to make a compromise because I finally felt heard. Whenever I see lines like, we were getting to a point, I know something bad's coming. Then my sister-in-law, who had an attitude the whole time, snappily said, okay, so what do we need to do to resolve this? Things started to get heated because I felt her tension and tried to acknowledge it. I said that I was really hurt by my sister-in-law's actions. I left it out of my original post, but she was complaining about helping me clean my house before my wedding. I later found out that she told my dad that I had mouldy dishes in the sink, and that was humiliating. I said it hurt a lot when I learned she brought it up again as part of her argument. Why should I watch the dogs? She sarcastically said, oh, so I'm the villain. I said, I feel like from what I've gathered from my parents this past week, that you think I'm sabotaging this vacation because I'm jealous that I can't go. And if you think that, you really must not know me, and that hurts. And she said the same rude tone as earlier. I must not know you because that is 100% what I think. My eyes welled up because I felt like she had just sucker punched me. And she looked at me and said, "Here comes the temper tantrum." I stood up to leave, then I turned around again and said, over everyone yelling my name, to calm down. If with all your time, money and resources decide to not go on vacation, that is your own decision and not because of me. I got the hell out of the house and sat in the car until my husband came out. She was in my wedding. I've been so happy to have her as my sister-in-law. I've been nothing but loving to her. Now I see she doesn't give a fuck about me. I'm gutted. It's clear that she has zero respect for me and probably never even liked me. I'm devastated because my family is everything, and I feel like my relationship with my brother will forever be altered. She is not the person I thought she was. And now, I'm not only not watching the dogs, but I guess I'm also accepting that I don't have a sister like I thought I did. Interesting order says, not the arsehole, cut contact with a sister-in-law. They're mad because you won't watch their dogs, and that's on them, not you. It says, I'm curious about the anger displayed by sister-in-law. Her comments and responses to the conversation would have torpedoed any such discussion with anyone, including Mother Teresa. I hope the rest of the family realizes that sister-in-law is a two-faced arsehole and villain, 9th degree. ETA, not the arsehole. Cygnus Song says she decided she's entitled to OP's assistance. She's not asking for a favor, she's demanding what is already hers. She's offended by OP's disobedience. Flat Shame says not only that she thinks OP owes her, she's not OP's friend, not the arsehole OP. I never understand people who get pets and don't think of the responsibilities of having that pet. I accepted Poppy with us because she was my dad's dog and we love her to bits. Any of my family would have taken her in, but I was in probably the best position to do so. And whilst I'm a huge dog fan, pet fan in general, I wouldn't usually have a dog in any other situation right now at this time in my life because of the responsibilities to it. I like going on holiday, I like traveling about, and I quite like doing it spontaneously when I get the chance. But you know, having a dog, it requires a lot more planning. I don't resent Poppy in any way, so don't take that. So don't take it that way. Absolutely love her to bits. Wouldn't change anything. But pets are a lot of responsibility, and you need to have things in place if you are going on holiday, etc. I'm lucky enough that, you know, when this arrangement came about with Poppy, and I said, like, I take Poppy in, but could people step up and, like, when I want to go on holiday, etc., could you step in and maybe, you know, take her in for the week? And of course, family was like, yeah, hell yeah. And that's what we do now. And Poppy absolutely loves it when she goes to my brother's, like with my niece and stuff. Absolutely loves her to bits, follows her around all the time, and I get photos of her chilling out whilst I'm on holiday at the same time, which is just wonderful. Oh geez, I'm going off again. I do apologize. Whenever I get a story that I can relate to, I feel like I'm sat in a cafe and I'm just having a chinwag with people, you know. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now, I saw this title and it had me boiling up already. It's from Affectionate Bus 6281 that says, "Stepdad stole my identity, causing my credit score to drop over 200 points. When I brought it up, he spit on me." What a prick. I never had a reason to check my credit score until a couple of months ago, other than when I got a credit card in 2021. At the time, I had a 745. When I went to purchase my first car on my own in April, the dealership told me my credit score was 541. I had no idea why, since I barely used my credit card and always paid it off in full every month on time. I put off buying the car while I looked into my credit and was mortified when I saw 2 other credit cards on my report, both of which were nearly maxed out, and with probably 15 late payments between the 2 of them. When I asked my mum and stepdad about it, my stepdad said he opened the cards when I went to college because I stopped paying rent at the house. When I lived there during my 2 years at CC, I paid them $500 a month in rent. I stopped paying when I moved out. We ended up arguing about it and he said I owed it to him for the years I didn't pay rent, literally talking about 8th to 12th grade, and to just drop it. When I told him he can't do that without my permission, he said he doesn't need permission and spit in my face. Like a full-on spit on my face. I left crying and my mum called to apologize. She talked a little bit and she told me he had something similar happen to him in the past. Obviously, that's no excuse, and I told her I'd have to go to the police about the accounts. She said to slow down and really think about if that's what I want to do. I hung up the phone. I wish I had known about the accounts sooner. I still think I'm going to call the police, but is there any other way of handling this? Absolutely go to the police right away. The mum in this situation is really getting on my tits as well. Imagine seeing someone spit in your child's face or any family member's face without even talking about the credit score stuff. That would send me over the edge. All that shit happening and the mum's just like, oh, hold up a sec. You sure you want to do that? She's in on it too. She's going to get herself in trouble at the same time. Shitty people, actions have consequences, all that good stuff. No Trey says first start with a police report for both identity theft and assault. You will need the police report for when you're in contact with the credit card companies and the credit agencies. Snarks quotes OP and says, not unless you want to ignore it and let him get away with committing a crime and tanking your credit for the next 7 years at least. Seriously though, he knew he was committing fraud and did it anyway. Freeze your credit and report the fraud to the cops and the credit agencies. Oh, and this, in quotes, he said I owed it to him for the years I didn't pay rent. Literally talking about 8th to 12th grade. And it says, is some bullshit. You were a minor. Providing for you was their job. One more comment from Pastel Phoenix who says, as a person who went through similar with my own father, my advice to you is contact your creditors and police and press charges. Everyone is going to press you and tell you to drop it. People are going to paint your stepfather as the victim. People are going to say you're overreacting. He committed a crime that could have repercussions that last decades. Do not trust them. Do not compromise. I had to spend almost 2 decades repairing the damage my father did, and in the end, my family still thinks I'm selfish for even bringing it up. Your stepfather is a thief and a liar, and so is anyone who supports him. If he was willing to do this in the first place, he certainly isn't going to be a supportive figure in the future. That ship has already sailed. As someone with perspective here, I'm telling you, if you don't do something about this right now, you will regret it. So OP came in with her update and said, I made the police report for both identity theft and the spitting. They said it was 2 separate incidents. The identity theft a felony and the spitting a misdemeanor. About a week afterwards, my dad comes storming into my workplace. He always had anger issues, but this is a new low for him. He starts screaming at me for calling the police, and a security guard comes in and tells him to leave. The security guard meant well, but she's probably 23 years old and small, and my dad is 6'2" and has been in plenty of fights in his life. My manager told me to go back, and he followed me back there. I locked myself in the bathroom, and he just kept banging on the door for probably 3 to 4 minutes, screaming at me. I called my mum, and she tried calling him. Eventually, a police officer gets there and goes to handcuff my dad. He fought him, and 2 other officers pile on him. He's arrested on aggravated battery and aggravated resisting charges. He was released from jail the next day. No idea why the county decided not to prosecute him. I spoke with an officer a couple of days later about a possible order of protection, and I was told the county usually doesn't prosecute people fighting cops unless an officer gets injured so badly they might have to medically retire. What reminded me about this post was that I checked my credit yesterday, and one of the accounts has come off. Still waiting for the other one, but I think it's just a matter of time. My dad hasn't said a word to me since, and my mum refuses to talk about it. The nice thing is, the rest of my family is completely on my side with this. My credit should recover pretty soon, but I think the relationship with my dad is pretty much over. I'm fine with that. He's a toxic person. I'm just hoping nothing else happens. That the police wouldn't do anything about him fighting police officers. That seems wild to me. What? But anyway, now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being awesome. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Drink some water, brush my teeth, get out of bed and